Designers are being replaced by AI, or are they? If you've been following the news recently, over the past couple weeks, you probably heard about this new tool from Google called Stitch. Essentially, the idea is simple. You just describe what you want for your mobile application, for your website, and Stitch gives it to you as a ready-to-use design. Sort of like vibe coding, but for design, so vibe design. And naturally, people started to say, that's it. Designers are done, AI has come for them as well. Hi, I'm Alex, and in today's video, I will put these claims to test. First, because I actually am interested if designers are next or not. But also, if you watched my previous video about vibe coding personal website, you know that I've struggled with creating the design for my website. And even now, it still doesn't really look that nice, I would say. So I thought, let's try this new Stitch thing and maybe also compare it to already existing tools like Cloud Code and Codex and see what they will be able to produce. Originally, this video was supposed to be a bit different. The initial plan was to ask all three tools, Stitch, Cloud Code, and Codex, to generate for me a UI kit and some sample pages, then select which I prefer most, and then ask Cloud Code and Codex implement that UI kit into my existing website. So first AI designs, then AI implements, and we just compare the results. Unfortunately, the reality didn't go as planned. I mean, I still did use all those three tools to generate the designs, to generate the UI kit, but redesigning my website based on those, yeah, that's a different story. Anyway, the starting premise of this small experiment is I have a very long prompt, which consists essentially of three parts. First, I describe what I'm building, in this case, a website. I give some context about the reasons why I'm building it. I list all the pages which I have, some description of elements which I use, like drop boxes, like drop downs, checkboxes, and so on. And then I also very roughly describe what I want to get from AI, right? So I want to get a UI kit, which will include all the UI elements like checkboxes or drop downs. And also I want to get 6 sample pages. And that's it. No prior design, no codebase context. And hopefully as an output, I will get nice looking UI system. So let's start with Stitch. When I just tried it a week ago, I was actually quite impressed. Similar to this video, I gave it a very vague prompt and it was able to generate quite nice looking design. I also did a few follow-ups and it was able to use the existing design and generate new pages or fix issues in the pages it generated before. So it was pretty consistent. All the new pages follow the same UI kit that was used in the previously generated pages. So everything looked smoothly and I thought to myself, well, maybe now my website will get a very nice design after all. Then I tried again today for this video and things didn't go the same way. And don't get me wrong, it did give me quite good results. You can see a few samples on the screen right now. However, when I tried to do follow-ups, things kind of got messy. It tried to create a new UI kit with the same name but different colors. Then it tried to apply on the new pages the UI kit of the first version. Then it generated third design system. So everything got kind of out of control. But again, to be fair, on the first shot, it did generate quite a nice looking design. So if you only need like a landing page or maybe a few screen mobile app, well, most likely you will get what you want from a single shot. However, at this point, it started to feel kind of like vibe coding a year ago. You roll the dice, you send the prompt, you get something which you might not like, and then you just re-roll. You roll the dice again, and then again, until you get what you want, or at least what you kind of like. All right, next turn is Codex. Exact same prompt, and what I got is, well, it does has its own style, that's for sure. I do like the color schema, but the overall style probably is not for me. Feels more like a bunch of screens from mobile apps stitched, no pun intended, together. It did give me more extended UI kit version without follow-ups compared to Stitch, but it still didn't cover even the elements I mentioned explicitly. So overall creative, but definitely requires extra work. Next up is Cloud Code. This one feels more conservative and to some extent feels similar to what I already have on the website. Color scheme is nice, just like with Codex, and Cloud's UI kit is also on par with Codex. It has some UI elements for reference, but again, doesn't cover even the elements I mentioned explicitly. So it feels like a safe interpretation of the prompt. And compared to Stitch, well, Stitch, in my opinion, gave me probably the strongest initial visual direction, which I could use right away. Codex, at the same time, was more experimental, and then Claude was more conservative, which is interesting because they all gave the same initial starting point, the same prompt, but the end result is completely different. After that, as an experiment, I decided to see what will happen if I give the same prompt to Cloud Code and Codex, but this time they will have full access to my existing code base, to the design of my website, which I have right now. And the results were quite different, but also similar in a sense. So Codex did make quite a significant change compared to current design, but also, as you can see, elements were not really correctly aligned, and it feels like a mobile first design even more compared to the previous version. And then Cloud Code went in completely opposite direction. I mean, here's my current website and closed version side by side, and it feels like a game of finding 10 differences between very similar pictures. So pretty much it reused the existing design, did a few minor tweaks, but I would say it is really hard to notice them at the first glance. So it felt like Codex tried to redesign everything while Claude tried not to do anything. But also, arguably, both of those results are worse compared to Cloud Code and Codex output when they only were given the prompt, which I didn't really expect. Now, what's the final result? Here's all the designs side by side. My current website, Stitch versions, Codex and Cloud. And let me know in the comments which one do you like the most. So, are designers being replaced? Well, I don't think so. Not yet anyway. And honestly, all this is not even entirely new. Already a year ago, you could do pretty much the same things with the same tools. What's different now is mostly how easy it is to use and how accessible it is becoming. But the limitations are still very clear. And to some extent, it is similar to vibe coding. You hear a lot of people saying that vibe coding will replace developers, just like web design. Both can serve as a good starting point, especially if you are non-technical person, or maybe like me, you struggle with creating the design for your product, for your application, for your website. So you can get a good starting point, especially if you just need one or two screens for your mobile application, you want just a simple landing page. You could get away with using either of those tools, but once you start to scale, once you start to want to add some modifications and add new elements and so on, the limitations will become very clear. Just like with vibe coding, those tools can get you from 0 to 1, but then you still have all the way to 100. And unfortunately, at least at this stage, those tools will not always help you. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, well, you know the drill, right? And see you in the next video.